Hello friends, I'm Kristie Marcotte. Thanks so much for joining me here on Scrapbook.com's channel. Today we'll be making some fun and pink Valentine's Day cards. Here's a look at the main products I'll be using, and if you're interested, there are links in the description box below. I have the Stitch Stripes A2 card die, heart doilies, Valentine shape die set, and for a sentiment, I'm using the stamp set Sweet Valentine along with the coordinating dies. For paper and cardstock, I have the Berry Sweet pattern paper, holographic mirror paper, and I'm also using the bright pink color from the Rainbow Glossy cardstock pack. Scrapbook.com has released so many fun new Valentine products this year. If you still need to make your Valentines, now is the time to grab those new products. So I've already gone ahead and die cut out most of the pieces, and I have everything organized in the stack and sort trays. I have one of each size. I will be doing a little bit of die cutting here with you. I cut just a small piece of the bright pink glossy cardstock, and I'm using the Rose Quartz Platinum Scout machine. This color is exclusive to Scrapbook.com, and I absolutely love the small size. The sandwich I'll be using is AB. I'm using one of the new magnetic magic mats. This is the slim size, and I also have plate C. I'll start off by putting plates A, B, and also the magnetic magic mat. I'll place them on the opening on the left side of the machine. I'll be cutting out 2 pink hearts. With the magnetic magic mat, you'll first place your cardstock or paper on the mat, then put the dies on top face down. So you'll be cutting into the magnetic magic mat. The opposite side is a regular magic mat. Then I'll add plate C, which is an acrylic plate, run it through the die cut machine, and both of the hearts cut out beautifully. I love having the smaller size of the Scout machine. I can sit at my desk, do lots of die cutting, as long as the die fits through the machine and that opening is 3.5 inches. For the A2 die, I did use my Platinum 6 machine since it won't fit through the Scout machine. For the main frame die cut piece, it'll be this lovely pink color, and this is some of the pattern paper from the Berry Sweet collection. You can see this fun sort of starburst design on the back side. With the A2 die cut flipped over, I'll add Artiste glue on the back, and I'm using a cut down project grip mat from Scrapbook.com. That way I don't get glue all over my workspace mat. On the back side of the stripe die cut piece, I'll be adding the pink and white gingham paper. And I cut the gingham paper just a tiny bit smaller than the A2 frame. Now I'll press firmly, making sure all of those stripes adhere nice and flat. Next I'll flip it over, put adhesive on the back, and I'm using Scrapbook.com's Deluxe Adhesive Roller. Now I'll add my card front onto a card base. For a little extra detail and shine, using the Stitch Stripes A2 die, I cut out another piece from some holographic mirror paper. I still want the pink and white gingham stripes to show through, so I'll only add in a few of the holographic stripes. Most of the stripes will only fit in one area. There are a few that are very close in size. So first I'll check to make sure that stripe fits in the opening. I'll add Artiste glue, then I'll inlay those beautiful holographic stripes. I'm only using, I think, 7 of the stripes, or 6 and the little triangle in the lower right-hand corner. I did save those extra pieces, so I'll make another card. Don't want those to go to waste. That's one thing that's so fun about the A2 card dies that cut out multiple pieces. You can easily mass produce cards if you use the die with multiple pieces of cardstock or pattern paper. I have one final stripe to adhere, about in the center of the card. So now I'll set that aside and start working on the doily heart. and I cut out the largest size. I use Scrapbook.com's white mixed media cardstock, so it's a nice heavy weight. And I want to add just a tiny bit of soft pink color, so I'll do some ink smushing. I have Distress Oxide spun sugar. I'll press some ink onto the mat, spritz it with water. Then I'll take the heart doily and press it into the ink mixture. Then I'll make sure to let that dry. You can also use a heat tool to speed up the drying process. For a little bit of sparkle, I'm using the clear glitter brush marker. I'll squeeze out a tiny bit of the solution on my mat. Then I'll gently tap the brush over the doily heart, creating this beautiful sparkly splatter. I'll set that aside to dry. Now we'll work on the cherry. And I love these little heart cherries, super cute. And it matches the new Valentine paper. Although in this video I'm using the Berry Sweet collection. I use white cardstock for the outline piece. You can build the cherries without this piece, but it does help as a guide. It's also nice to have that outline piece if you're adding your die cut image on busier pattern paper. I'll start by adhering the 2 heart cherries. Put artiste glue on the back, adhere those in place, and it'll leave that perfect white border around the image. Now I'll add the leaf, and I did use some of the Berry Sweet pattern paper for the leaf since there are a couple of solid colors included with the pattern paper. Final step, I'll add the stems, and this brown color is from Scrapbook.com's neutral smooth cardstock paper pad. I selected one of the darker brown colors. I did get a little bit of glue on the cherries, but once the glue dried, since this is on glossy cardstock, it was very easy to wipe away. I will be popping up the cherry image using foam dimension. I'm using the small foam squares in the 1mm thickness. To get behind the stem area, since it is fairly narrow, I will cut a few of those small squares in half. And I'm using the titanium scissors. Scrapbook.com's 1mm foam is my favorite. It adds just that tiny bit of dimension. But if you like more dimension, they also offer their foam in 2 and 3mm thicknesses. I'll also be popping up the doily heart using more 1mm foam, but this time I'm using the 1/4 inch roll. I'll make sure to get good coverage on the back. I'm not putting it behind that fancy doily area since I don't want the foam to show. I wasn't trusting that that glitter brush marker was completely dry, so to add the foam, I flipped it over and placed it on the project grip mat. I'll remove the release paper and add the heart in the center of the card. Since the heart and the cherries have foam dimension, this card does end up being a little bit thicker. I'll remove the release paper behind the cherries and add them on the right side of the doily heart. I want to leave enough space on the left side for the sentiment. Once the cherries are adhered, I'll set aside the card and we'll start working on the sentiment. I already have the 2 sentiment pieces set up in my rose quartz Misty. I'll ink them up using Honeybee Stamp's intense black ink. And to help get even pressure when stamping, I'm using the Stampendous stamping tool. This is also in the rose quartz color. I'll be using the coordinating dies to cut out the sentiment. I'll grab the Platinum Scout machine, but first I do need to cut down this sheet of cardstock. That way it fits through the machine. There is a die to go around Be My Valentine, but there's not one that goes around the word sweet. The smallest size sentiment die was designed to work with the You and Me sentiment, but I can make it work with the word sweet. So I'll line it up on the left side. I have the cardstock with the dies on the magnetic magic mat. Run it through my Platinum Scout machine. The Be My Valentine sentiment cut out beautifully, but you can see there's extra on the right side of the word sweet. This is not a problem. We'll simply run it through the die machine again, but this time we'll line it up on the right side. And even though I am using the magnetic magic mat, I'll also add a small piece of mint tape. This is the 1/4 inch size. Really want to make sure that doesn't move. So once I run it through my machine again, now it looks like the die was designed to fit perfectly around the word sweet. And there are several small words on the Sweet Valentine set, so if you want to cut them out, you can use this trick. Now it's time to add the sentiments on the card. The Be My Valentine portion, the very right side, will sit on one of the cherry stems. On the back side, I'm adding a scrap piece of cardstock. Just on the left side, not adding any in the area that sits on the cherry, but I'll also be popping it up with foam dimension. Without that cardstock layer, that left side of the sentiment will dip down just slightly. So by adding it, it keeps everything at the same level. I'll put foam dimension behind the word sweet as well. I wasn't paying attention when I added the foam behind Be My Valentine. I will need to peel back just a tiny bit from the right side, and I'll trim off that extra using the titanium scissors. On the area that does sit on the cherry stem, I'll add artiste glue. The word sweet will go above the Be My Valentine sentiment, and I'm putting it at a slight angle. The idea is to create the sentiment, Be My Sweet Valentine. So to indicate the word sweet should be inserted between my and Valentine, I'll use a black pen and draw that tiny inverted V. This is a proofreading symbol. I believe it's called a caret. For embellishments, I'll add some lovely pink jewels. These are by Pink Fresh Studio. It's their ballet slipper color. I have them stored in the large embellishment jars from Scrapbook.com. I'll pour out a small amount in the stack and sort tray. That way I can easily select the different sizes. I'll first add a small drop of artiste glue, and I'll pick up the jewels using the wax tip end of the Pro Pick tool. I'll add 2 jewels in the upper right-hand corner and 3 in the lower left-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I didn't want to waste the holographic frame, so I made a second card. For a little extra detail, I inlaid some of the pink stripes. And I did end up making one more card. It's the same as the first card. I had some of the holographic stripes left over, so I figured why not make one more. This was a really fun set of Valentine cards to make, especially with all the pretty pink. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.